As part of the Living Archive course, you're going to become a master of the library module, where you'll manage a collection of almost any size. Since we're going to be spending so much time in the library module, I want to use this first lesson just to walk you through each of the panels and talk to you a little bit about how you can customize the view that you have in the library module. Now let's just go ahead and do a quick tour of each of the panels. And when I say panels, I mean each of these blocks like the Navigator or the Catalog panel. The first of these is the Navigator Panel, where we can see a quick view of any of our images. Now these various options up here like fit, fill, or the various zoom options let us view our image at different sizes. And if we want to pull out of that back to grid view, just go ahead and press G on your keyboard. The Navigator is really helpful when we're trying to choose our best images or get a closer look at them. The Catalog panel, the next one up, shows us how many images are in our catalog, as well as some quick options we can use to navigate the various image sets, such as the previous import. And you can see here as we click on it, it switches to the last set of images that we imported. If you're trying to select your last shoot that you've imported into your master catalog, the previous import option is a really handy one. The next panel is the folders option, which is really helpful. It lets us actually view where the images in our catalog are stored on our drive. Now, the main project of this course is that you're going to watch me merge my entire lifetime collection of weddings that I've shot into one master catalog. But you can see here that I've only got one wedding loaded in the catalog right now, and that's stored in this folder. We can actually add other folders, and doing so actually launch the import dialog by pressing the plus button and choose add folder. So basically the folders panel is really helpful when you want to know where your images are stored, and it doesn't completely detach you from the file structure that's on your computer. We'll talk more about how I suggest setting up your data structure, but just know that the folders panel is really helpful when you feel that an image is lost. The collections panel is one that we're going to talk about a whole heck of a lot, and that's basically the way that we can use virtual folders in Lightroom to organize our files. Now, a lot of people want to bypass using a single master catalog because they don't feel like they can organize their images, but with collections, I'm going to show you how. The Published Services panel is not one we're going to cover as part of this course, but there are some advanced options for how we can send images to the web and publish them to other services. Now, for each of these panels, we can customize our view by clicking on the title and collapsing them. So if you have a panel that you don't use very often and you want to keep it hidden, you can always use that option. Furthermore, if we want to collapse an entire section and have more room to work with our images, we can always press these arrows on the side to collapse it really quick. Clicking it again will bring it back, or we can leave it collapsed and hover over the area to show it on demand. Now, on the right side of the library module, there's some additional panels that kind of transcend multiple modules. The Histogram panel is one you'll see almost regardless of the module you're working in, and it's helpful for checking an image's exposure and overall lighting. Many photographers will live and die by this histogram and use it to grade their best images and how well they're exposed. The Quick Develop panel is a way to apply quick edits and corrections to images, but we're not going to cover it as part of this course. And finally, there's the entire keywording panel, which is an incredibly useful part of building a scalable catalog, and it's one we're going to spend entire lessons working with. At the bottom, we have other options like keyword list, metadata, and comments, and those are all panels designed to help us interact with our images and keep them searchable, taggable, and ultimately make our Lightroom catalog even more explorable. Back to our theme of customizing this view, we can also drag and slide these panels to get more room to work with the data that's on the panels, or more room in the middle to view our images. Now, some other options that may be useful to you include showing the toolbar. You can press T on your keyboard to bring it up, and that shows some additional options. I usually leave this one up to switch between viewing images at a large size, or putting them in grid view, or some of the various other options that we have. You can also choose to sort your images based on various criteria, and that really comes in handy. Basically, I'm going to show you a lot of different tools as part of this course that help you slice and dice a huge catalog into a much smaller and more explorable one. And finally, down at the bottom is our friend the film strip. Now, the film strip shows all of the images we currently have selected, as well as some data over it, such as if an image has been edited with icons like this, a crop has been applied, or a flag has been added. And again, in keeping with our theme of customizing the view, we can even drag and resize the film strip to have larger or smaller previews of the images. Now, finally, one option that I always keep turned on with my Lightroom for the purpose of these screencasts and often when I'm working is to access the window menu and choose screen mode full screen. When I'm trying to focus in and really get my catalog tagged and organized, I'll often keep that turned on. Now, the last thing that I want to talk to you about as part of this first lesson is really the value of using one catalog to store all of your images in. You may already be doing this, but as I talk to more and more users, what I find out often is that they're using a catalog for each individual shoot. And for a long time, I was actually part of that crowd as well. The reason in my mind was that if I kept images separated and each in their own catalog, that kept the images more safe and basically segregated from one another in a way that protected my data. And while there is some truth to that, it's better to lose a single small catalog as opposed to a large one. We'll approach all kinds of various data safety approaches to our catalog as we go. The main advantages of keeping one master catalog is that basically the more data you have to work with, the more power is in your catalog. So whereas I used to have lots of individual catalogs for my weddings, when it came time to pull out my favorite images for the year, I found myself having to open lots of different catalogs all the time. And basically, anytime you're building a portfolio or trying to search and scour your best images or any specific image a client might need, the power of having it all stored in one catalog is really exponential. So as part of this course, what I'm going to walk you through doing is actually working with my real image collection to merge lots of these small catalogs, there's maybe 10 or 12 of them, into one master catalog. And we'll actually work through my real image files, and you'll see the advantages will grow from merging it to that master catalog. Right now, I'm working in one wedding that I shot in early 2014, but by the end of this course, you're going to see how we can marry lots of small catalogs into one, but not lose the power of keeping images separated.